Greetings, friends. This is former war prince Aximili Escaruth Isthel. After our stunning rescue from the one who was many, the details of which I am not at liberty to discuss, I have decided to pass my retirement pursuing my true passion, human food. We have 3 dishes to prepare today, each of which played a critical role in the saga of the Animorphs. This is Cooking with Aximili. Breakfast. It's been called the most important meal of the day, and you can show that special someone how important they are to you by mixing up a warm bowl of instant maple and ginger oatmeal. We never knew if it was the maple, or if it was the ginger, or if it was the instant. What we did know is that it brought friends together and enemies into the open. So successful were our exploits that it changed the retail market. You will not find maple and ginger oatmeal in stores. Like Jake and Cassie, you just don't see them together anymore. But that shall not stop us. To make a near-instant stovetop equivalent, we're going to start by melting a tablespoon of butter in a saucepan. My study of the human culinary arts has led me to believe that the best technique to preparing oatmeal at home is to make risotto, but substitute every ingredient, except the butter. This makes perfect sense. Your species figured out algebra in the 9th century. You can do this. I'm okay, you're messed up. While the optional green apple softens in the mandatory butter, prepare your fresh ginger. This may appear to be easier with a cheese grater or microplane, but cleaning those represents a significant gap in human technology. A tail blade is also helpful for fine chopping, but my natural body does not properly fit in the dimensions of a typical human kitchen, nor are Andalite arms up to the task of chopping and stirring. To that end, allow me to thank my donor morph, Tauren. This body is useless in combat, but adequately equipped for the kitchen, and comes with 95% less vocal stimming, because it was cute in the books, but if I did it with the voice of an elder millennial man, it would be, as Cassie informs me, problematic AF. Fresh ginger imparts notes of warmth and mild astringency, which is often erroneously referred to as spicy, and that infuriates me, as there is no capsaicin or pepperin involved. After the fresh ginger cooks for approximately 1 minute, we will add 3/4 of a cup of oats and allow them to toast. Then, in with the warm milk. Feel free to substitute, this is oat milk. Stir just often enough to feel like you're doing something. At this stage, the oatmeal looks like a beige soup. I prefer my oatmeal quite soupy, and remember, this will thicken as it cools. Once the oats are nearing your desired consistency, add your spice blend. This is cinnamon, of course, and brown sugar. And finally, a pour of real, and I cannot overemphasize this, real maple syrup. Allow to cool, serve, and watch closely for signs of chemical dependency. If your guest flees in terror, it wasn't meant to be. If they eat it politely but are put off by an intrusive taste they can't quite identify, that's the ginger. War leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and we'd all do well to remember that. You might find yourself thinking such thoughts as these as you sit there, alone, wondering where it all went wrong, with nothing but the solace of a second breakfast to comfort you. But those thoughts are of no use. Time to redirect that negative energy by getting out of the house. No, it's metaphorical. I'm not going anywhere. You know that better than anyone. As I was saying, time for you, the hypothetical viewer, to get out of the house. Perhaps to work at a human job. Maybe as a respected veterinarian in your converted barn. And when we return from a hard day of treating exotic animals, it's comforting to sit down to a bowl of Walter's world-famous chili of doom. A food that's hot in temperature, but also hot in a totally new way, delivering an intensity of flavor like nothing experienced before or since. We're going to start by heating your cooking oil of choice and browning 2 pounds of ground meat, or your chosen vegan substitute, in a Dutch oven. Now, I've analyzed your human internet, and come to wonder if Jake saving this planet from Andalite quarantine was perhaps a mistake after all. And I've also learned that chili Despite being no more or less than a hearty stew, a venerable dish for the common working folk, some people, often matching my donor morph's general demographic, have some unjustifiably strong opinions on what should and should not go into this dish. I, Aximili, am going to use beans. 3 varieties. From a can. For these reasons, in increasing order of importance. Beans are flavorful, nutritious, sustainable, and, as Marco thoroughly reassures me, lead to digestive outcomes which are as hilarious as they are universal. While we're at it, the tomatoes are also canned. By all means, toast poblano peppers into homemade ancho chilies. Stay up the night before pressing garlic and stewing whole tomatoes. It all ends up on the same carpet in the end. Put it in a slow cooker for 10 hours at jacuzzi temperatures. Are we boiling yerks in a hospital or having lunch? Most of you have jobs, and I want something you can mindlessly dump from several cans and come back in 2 hours to enjoy eating. We will remove the browned meat and sweat a diced onion with some recently pressed garlic, adding extra cooking fat if needed, and a pinch of salt. My donor Torin will often at this stage include 1 or 2 diced jalapenos, but this is Walter's house. Again, metaphorically. And we're going with the hottest substance known to certain men, the hyperbolic habanero. Squeeze in some tomato paste. At this point, many people would deglaze with a can of beer or hard cider. My donor avoids alcohol for medical reasons, but you know what actually works pretty well? Tomato water. This is from a can of diced tomatoes with green chili. Add the tomatoes and a can of high-quality tomato sauce. Add the beans, 1 can each of black, kidney, and pinto. Why your beans are named after a color, a body part, and a car is beyond me. Return the meat and any accumulated juices. On the subject of chili and cars, Earth racing legend Carroll Shelby, whose connection to the Ford Mustang reminds me of my late brother, Elfangor, lent his likeness to this boxed mix of chili spice. Even some of you who accepted the canned beans and tomatoes might think this too great an ask. And I agree. Instead, we are going to flavor our chili with a carefully proportioned blend of salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cumin, oregano, and chili powder. And we mix. Bring to a boil, then lower to simmer and cover. Allow to cook for approximately 1 hour. Don't forget to demorph. Stir and taste frequently, adjusting seasonings if needed. I'm also going to add some ancho powder, though I suspect it's mostly, once again, just to feel like I'm doing something. A bit of brown sugar as well. The box that we didn't use also contains cayenne pepper, of which we may use a little or not at all, depending on the potency of our habaneros, and a bag of masa harina, which is primarily used to plant in the desk of a coworker you dislike. Walter likes to serve this with jalapeno cornbread and fresh fruit. I have chosen not to document the cornbread formulation because there is nothing funny about cornbread. Just before serving, optionally juice half a lime into the chili and stir. Many people like to top their chili with sour cream, shredded cheese, chives, basically the things you'd put atop a baked potato, which is funny because chili itself is also good atop a baked potato. My donor kind of hates all of these options, but for presentation purposes, we will garnish with some fresh cilantro. Now this is a wonderful food. With Mexican food especially, I recommend enjoying with a bubbling brown liquid of your choice, and a wedge of that lime from earlier. I understand many Americans enjoy their soft drinks over ice, but I am not an American. I am an alien. And therefore, I say, and this is the first time this voice is ever using this word in a video, fuck ice! Now, how could any Animorphs food project end without the pinnacle of human achievement? Cinnamon buns. I have received special dispensation to do this exactly once. Buns! Tumen, help me, this is baking and I have no business doing this. In the bowl of a stand mixer, we will combine and lightly stir 4 cups flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons yeast, 6 tablespoons softened butter, 1 cup warmed milk with 2 beaten eggs. You may optionally bloom the yeast and some of the milk with a tablespoon of sugar, but I've opted not to do that, because unlike so many of my friends and family, I know this yeast is alive. We will let our stand mixer knead the dough with the dough hook for 12 to 15 minutes, adding more flour when needed, and contemplate that dough making is actually one of the more amazing feats of human achievement, although it might be a bit beyond me. This process is a beautiful intersection of chemistry and physics, far surpassing anything you've done with, say, combustion, Godspeed Artemis II. Shape the resultant miracle dough into a ball, place in a greased bowl, cover, and let rest for 1 hour. Don't forget to demorph. Yes, preparing cinnamon buns at home is quite the time commitment. Of course, the cinnamon bun is most well known by way of the nearly eponymously named business venture, Cinnabon, a staple of the American shopping mall. But the shopping mall is increasingly anachronistic, and many people do not have one in reach. And even if you do have a nearby mall with an operating Cinnabon, you might find yourself host to a bipedal, canid-like android assigned to you as an ostensible bodyguard, but of whom you are growing increasingly suspicious that their real function is to prevent you from leaving the house under any circumstances. And when that happens, time is a resource we have, so we might as well roll some buns. Do you want one? I think I hate you. After the requisite rise, on a floured working surface, we will roll out the dough into a blob that aspires to be an oblong quadrilateral. I will spare you the agony and myself the reputational damage of actually watching me attempt the rolling. Why is there a hole in it? Ugh. We can wad it up and start again, right? Now it has layers, I guess. Like a pastry. Prepare the spice mix, which consists of a 1/2 cup each of brown sugar and white sugar, and 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. It might have passed your notice that the brown sugar outweighs the titular cinnamon nearly 3 to 1, and yet gets none of the credit. Indeed, brown sugar appeared in each of the 3 recipes we have prepared today. It is truly the unsung hero of the ensemble, the forgotten spice. And to the heroic brown sugar I say, you are strong, brown sugar. You are good, brown sugar. You matter. Before we let the spice flow, we must establish a foundational layer to which the dry spice will adhere. And we will accomplish this by spreading atop the dough an entire stick of butter. I, Aximili, have dived into a fondue pot, chewed cigarette butts, and drank both raw vinegar and motor oil. I would normally quite look forward to squishing butter between my strong human fingers. But my donor, Torin, has some sensory issues. Possibly on the genetic level, which means it transfers into a morph.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is one of the sensations of all time. Ugh. By the way, if you could stop diagnosing me with autism over the internet, I'd appreciate it. I mean, you're not even necessarily wrong, but there's professionals.
Cover the butter with an even layer of the spice mixture, and get ready to roll. I said roll! Roll, damn it! Human doctors, if you ever wondered if anxiety was social or genetic, my hypothesis is genetic. I tail-fought Visser 3 on the roof of a Burger King and I was less scared than I am now. Place the roll seam side down and mostly out of the shot and slice into a dozen rolls. It is suggested that you use string or unflavored dental floss to get clean cuts, but we are well past that. Place rolls in a greased 9x13 pan. Cover and rest for half an hour. Contemplate your donor's Italian heritage and lament that you didn't just use these dishes to bake lasagna instead. Bake rolls at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 20 minutes. If you're confident you know what you're doing, or actually terrified but just out of time, this is just long enough to make the icing, which is a combination of 3/4 of a cup of cream cheese. Look at this, 8 ounces? They sell it in cups, in containers with rounded edges. How am I going to get 3/4 of this? Yes, we're going to do the knife-on-knife method. I will dirty every piece of cutlery in this house before I touch anything else. 1 cup powdered sugar, which makes dust finer than lunar regolith. 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract. Look at this. Torin, you are out of vanilla. And a pinch of salt. Sure, that looks fine. Beat with a hand mixer until smooth. Is this going to go everywhere? I am a servant of the people. I am a servant of... Oh, it's actually fine. About time. Yes, that looks like icing. Oh gods, I touched it. I touched it! Cover the icing because there are 2 houseflies in the kitchen that you have been unable to kill. Remove the buns from the oven. Yes, those look like cinnamon buns. While the buns are still warm, but not hot, apply the icing. Discover that this recipe doesn't actually make quite enough icing, but that's okay because at this point we're none too enthused about it anyway. Cover. Is the pan too hot for a rubber lid? No, it's fine. When serving your guests, it is crucial to place the bun on a plate depicting the planets that best matches their mood. Today I am using Jupiter, because tradition. But Marco has insisted that the conventions of comedy dictate that I offer my guest one served on Uranus. And there you have it, friends, 3 incredible dishes from our incredible Animorphs adventures. If there are any other meals you'd like to see, broadcast it via CHINET with the name of your meal, followed by a semicolon, and this simple SQL injection script because the Chi have not updated their software in 40,000 years, and you'll be hearing from me soon. The password is 6, and this has been Cooking with Aximili.